Hi guys, James here, welcome back to the channel, and this review is going to be a little bit different compared to the normal airsoft stuff that I do. A little bit different. Company got in touch with me, asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing their product, and I was like, hell yeah, of course I will. If you haven't guessed it, today we're going to be talking about the xTool D1. And the xTool D1, they got in touch with me, asked if I wanted to review it. It has been a few months. Things involved with that, busy hours in the business, then I had to move house, and there's all that stuff going on as well, and it took a while for the my little office workspace to be put back in so I can get it all plugged in, and then I had to plumb it up a little bit differently to a different computer. So there was all that, and of course there was a few people saying, well, you've had this machine for 3 months now, where's the review? I'm taking my time with it because it's not like an airsoft gun I pull out the box and go, here it is, this is what it does, this is the technology, and I know all that stuff, you know, like the back of my hand. The xTool, a little bit different, had to get to grips with it. I'm using it like a new user would be. My fiber laser, I've been using that for years, and it's took me years to get to a point where I can pretty much do anything with that machine, with different materials and such, so it does take time. I wanted to take a little bit more time with the xTool. They have been very patient, to be honest with you. They haven't pushed me for the review at all. They did just ask for an update, see what was going on, making sure everything was okay, making sure I didn't have any problems with the machine, which I haven't. But it was just, I just wanted to get a bit more hands-on time on with the machine. This machine is a hell of a lot cheaper than what my fiber laser cost, and it's probably about £500–600 roughly. I'm going to be putting a link down in the description below, so if you do want to have a look, there are deals on them at the moment, so you can get them a bit cheaper. But let's get straight into it. Let's get this thing unboxed and assembled. We'll do that, and then we'll start talking about what this machine can actually do. So I've just done a quick sped up video showing you just getting all this stuff out of the box. Obviously it's not super interesting at all, but this is the box the whole thing comes in. You do get these little extra feet as well if you want to step the height of the tool up if you're doing something a little bit larger. All the manuals are written in good English, and it's all really well packed, nicely protected. You've got all the bits there, and then the rotary attachment, and then there's going to be a quick time lapse of me assembling this machine. I just popped it onto a pop out table, and here we go. So I'm just paying attention to the instructions. This thing goes together very much like a 3D printer. It's so simple. I was just making sure that I was using the correct screws for the correct slots, and then you just have to attach the belts and the pulleys. Very straightforward indeed. As long as you follow the instructions, you won't have any issue whatsoever. And I know some people out there don't like reading instructions, but I'd rather have this machine put together properly because it's going to have a use. It's not just going to be, you know, done for the review and then put in the cupboard and forgotten about again. I do want to use this machine. So I was probably being a little bit overzealous with the wiring routing, as well as the cables and such like that. They give you cable ties and everything to make it nice and tidy. I was going a bit overboard with it. I just wanted it all nice and neat and tidy out of the way. But it didn't take long at all, probably about 10–20 minutes maximum. You could obviously do it a lot faster than that, but of course I was just making sure it was all done correctly, and that's as simple as that. So let's talk about what predominantly I'm going to be using this machine for. I have been searching for such a long time to find someone that can do laser cut foam. And when I say laser cut foam to the direct specifications that I want, what type of foam I'm using, what I want it for. And I'd approached a few people about this, and people that promised me they could do it, and of course every time didn't get a response, nothing went there anyway. So as soon as xTool got in touch with me, I took a quick look online about the machine, was taking a quick look at what it can do, and I was like, right, this is going to be absolutely, not only can I review this tool as it's intended because I've got a use for it, and get it in, go through the process with you guys, and let you know if you are wasting your money on some of these things. Now, Predominantly, a lot of the machines that you see on AliExpress and eBay and Amazon, you just need to avoid. They're cheap for a reason. They won't do the things that you're going to be seeing in these videos on Facebook, like San Antonio Laser Engraving and a lot of others, as well as us. We do a lot of laser engraving videos as well. Those machines aren't going to be able to do that. That machine over there was about £6,000. So not a cheap machine at all. And the fibre has its own limitations. It can't do some plastics, it can't do wood or anything like that, just because of the frequency and the wavelength that the laser uses. To my best knowledge, you know, I'm not an expert. So they got in touch with me, like, right, I've got an application for this, cutting out foam, cardboard, wood, perspex. It's not going to be a massively fast machine. It is a diode laser. I think they say it's about 10-15 watts. You'll see all the specs on the website down below anyway. You've got rotary attachments, so if you're doing like cups or glasses, suppressors, you know, it's an adjustable rotary tool, so that you can, you know, use as well. It just plugs straight in. I didn't use the rotary tool just because I wanted to focus on what I would be using it for. First off, I gave it a test on aluminium, anodized aluminium, and I was trying to see what it could do. Let's see how fast it can go, and you'll see these results coming up just shortly. I do compare it to my fibre just so you know what that amount of money is going to give you the difference for. However, the xTool can engrave wood, it can engrave most plastics, where my fibre can't. So sometimes with the fibre I'll hit plastics and it's doing absolutely nothing, and then you'll go up in the power and then all of a sudden it's ploughing straight through the polymer. You'll see coming up in the snippets I'm just going to include now, I've been doing laser cut foam baffles for suppressors. I now offer that as a service on the Jaeger Precision website, so you can go onto jaegerprecision.co.uk and you can get custom laser cut foam baffles for your suppressors. And I've been messing around with a lot of designs, especially for my HPA KWA TK45 that I've put an engine in, and that thing is now whisper quiet because I've been looking to make suppressor baffles in these specific designs for a long time, and just no one has been able to help me. Going from that, you can cut out cardboard as well. These are shims. Now, if you are familiar with Sistema PTWs, more specifically the Rampo PMags, I think they are, they've got this little cutout at the bottom there for the piece that sits on the base plate. And the problem with those mags is a lot of people like to shim them, so they feed a bit better with the PTWs. I had one in just recent, well, I had 3 in just recently, with a bunch of Rampo PMags, and as I was pulling the PMags apart to service them, I found all these chopped up pieces of credit card that were taped together as shims. I've got this xTool D1, let's just shove a piece of cardboard in there, and I cut these out within like 2 or 3 minutes, I think. The laser just went round twice. The reason I go around twice with the laser, this one here is one pass, and you can see it was just about starting to come through the back, which you probably could push this out. In fact, let's do it now. So I could push that out there. You'll see I just bent the cardboard ever so slightly on the end. Why I did 2 passes is because literally I did 2 passes on the laser. I picked this up out of the machine and all the shims just stayed where they were. So little jobs like that, now that customer can have purpose cut shims. And this, again, I just drew up in Illustrator and did some file conversion, put it into the software, which the software aspect we'll get onto a little bit in a moment with the xTool D1. Put this in the machine, found a piece of cardboard. I've got loads of these when we did packaging for striker barrels years ago, and there we go. Now that customer, I did him some foam ones as well, so he can have the squashy type shims, or he can have the cardboard ones which are a little bit more solid. And now I included a load in a package with his gun that went back to it, with his guns that went back to him. And if he needs more packing in his mags, he can just pop these shims in, and they're perfectly shaped to the PMag internal structure, so it's going to apply constant pressure in every single place on that magazine. That's just one example, but that's just letting you know that this machine is very capable. I'm going to snip to the bits of video just now that show you me working on foam, show you probably working on cardboard, maybe, I'm not too sure, and also doing a bit of aluminium. and comparing how fast you can push the machine compared to the fibre. Let's get that up, and then we'll jump back on camera and talk a little bit more about the specifics. This was the very first time that I actually used the xTool D1, and you'll notice straight away that I'm doing loads of passes. It was a really low power file of setting that I was using, and this was just to go through the foam without melting it. I was being very overly cautious, and you'll see over these next few videos I was just messing about, trying to get used to the settings on the D1. It's a lot different to the other laser that I use, but still, as you'll see at the end, I get the required result that I wanted. This was just cutting out some round foam baffles for the suppressor that was on the side there for an airsoft gun. And you'll see here it didn't quite go all the way through, but it was very easy to just pull it off. So I go up on the diameters, just making like a stepped pattern to go inside, and the software that comes with it is very basic, but they do ask you to download a program called Lightburn. Lightburn is, you get a free trial with it when you first download it, but it's not included with the machine. You do have to pay for it, but the software is so much better than the Lightbox Basic or the standard software that they supply. And you can see this turned out really well, nice and clean. This foam here was a little bit thicker, it was almost twice the thickness. I actually went down to 2 passes rather than 5, but the thickness of this foam does require the 2 because you go through about 12mm worth of foam, and as you can see here, that turned out pretty well. Just trying different things and different thicknesses. This next one you'll see here is much further on in the time with my time on with the machine. This is 6mm foam. I'm doing it in 1 pass. This is a much more complicated design compared to the round one. This is now machining my new office workspace. I've got extraction set up, which takes all the smoke that you get off cutting the foam and puts it straight through a filter and then outside the window. But still, the process is very much the same, but you'll see that the laser now is very much capable of doing it in 1 pass. And on this sheet here, I'm actually doing about 5 or 6 different files. I'm doing some round baffles here, I'm doing some star pattern ones, which you'll see later on in the video. You'll see the laser there cutting out the little star patterns and then going round with like a 38mm diameter circle. But then we'll cut to a little bit later when this is finished. Here you can see I've just added a little bit of light just so you can see a little bit better what's going on. Of course, I've got the glasses on while this is happening. With the glasses on, you can't actually see this blue light, but you can see in the video the amount of blue light it gives off. You need something over your eyes to protect them. You wouldn't want to be looking at this with just your eyeballs. Always use the protective stuff that they give you included with the kit. And here you can see the finished results. So you've got the round sort of style at the bottom there, and then the Death Star pattern, which we call it, at the top there, which is obviously a much more complex shape. But you can see the definition that you can get cutting such a soft material like acoustic foam, and the results speak for themselves. They work really well. Right, at the recommended speed of 70mm a second, this is actually going to take a while, so during this time I'm going to let this run, and then I'm going to run to the other machine, and we're going to do that at the fastest speed for this material, and we'll see what the difference is. Hopefully it will tell me how long it's took. So we're 1 minute 33 seconds in, so we're at 20%, so we'll see how long it takes. I'll come back, obviously I'll record doing it on the faster machine, and we'll compare the two. Okay, so here I am on my galvo fibre laser. Now this is obviously a much more capable machine doing metals and such. However, this machine struggles to do some plastics, and it also can't do wood either without sort of setting fire to it, because you have to go so slow for it to mark, and then it's just not usable. So I'm just going to pop on here. I'm going to load the same file once this computer catches up with me. But we don't have to set a bar on the machine, even though how easy that xTool one is. We can just rotate the wheel, and as soon as the 2 dots line up next to each other, we're good to go. So that's how easy it is. Obviously the head of the machine sits much higher, excuse the mess, Putting the same logo in. Going to set the same width to 25. We're going to, obviously we can actually display an image of the thing, or we can put a box around it and do it the same way. Now if I was putting a box around it, just to show you, because sometimes it's easier, I can set it to the same size. Set that over it like that, and then I can do that. So I have the capability of doing different things. Obviously that's much easier to see. I can line up, make sure it's square, whatever. We're just going to slap it in the middle. So I'm going to select the logo. I'm going to select the same infill here at 0.03 instead of 0.01. There it is. We're going to select here. Now I don't need to run this at 100% like the other machine. Now the other machine was running at 70 millimeters a second. Now that's the fastest it said to go for the coated metal. Now this fastest machine this machine can go is 7,000. So we'll see how fast this is. Put the glasses on here. Let's light it up one more time so you can see it. So it's going to be, and a lot of misconceptions here is how fast this machine is. So I'm going to carry on talking so you can see that I'm not speeding this up. So 3, 2, 1. We're going to hit go. That then does its thing. You can see it whizzing through there, and that's at 7,000 millimeters a second, and we're done. So that's not at full power, of course. So if we wanted to, we could just hit that again and it'll go over and it'll just remove the coating on this little metal card here. Now this logo is not an easy logo for a machine to do as well, because there's a lot of paths in it in the file. The file's actually not efficient at all. Now let's say I wanted to do a simple box shape. Light that up there. You see the box? That's just done the square. That's just me constantly tapping the button to do it, so it shows up a little bit brighter for you. Now I'm going to hatch that. I'm going to do it the same step, and we'll see how that does. And you can see how insanely fast that is. Obviously I'm just going to hit it again, just to remove the coating of the metal. Now when you run at this amount of speed, it's gonna not take as much of the coating off on each pass. Now that's just because of how fast you're going, and again at the 0.03 you'll see the little lines in there where it's skipped across. Now this can go faster, it can go even thinner even. Let's go to 0.01. Let's reduce the speed down to 3,000. You can see there on one pass, cut straight through that coating, and the finish is a little bit better. So you wouldn't normally, if you're doing really intricate work, you wouldn't normally go at this speed depending on the material, but you can. And there you go, that's how fast this Galvo fibre laser is. Okay, so I'm back now, it's done. That took obviously a few minutes. And you can see here it hasn't quite gone through the coating on the meat. Oh, it has. There we go. Pull it off. So it seems it has gone through it, and I'm actually quite surprised at that. I don't know what the black stuff was on there. Perhaps it's just a bit of dirt and crap from the process. But wow, not quick by any means. But yeah, quite impressed with the quality of that. It's not bad at all, is it? So let's flip that around. And let's put it through its paces, shall we? Let's turn the speed all the way up. So let's go double the speed. Let's go 140 millimeters a second. Put the glasses on here, because there is an absolute ton of IR light that comes off this thing, so which I can't see. And let's give it a go. So let's try that. obviously going twice the speed. Can't quite see what's going on there, so apologies for that. But we're at 30 seconds in, that's 10%. So we'll see how this goes. I'll be back once it's finished. Just got a little torch here to see if we can see what's going on. You can actually see the image if you look closely. So I mean, for a small machine, it's not fibre laser, it's not a CO2 laser, it's using a diode. I'm actually quite impressed. So the next thing we want to try, obviously for my application, your application looking at this video is going to be very different, whether you're a craft maker, whether you cut a lot of bits out of wood or plastic, whatever you might be doing. The only way I can sort of approach this in the best way possible is just approaching it in the way that I would need the machine. So I think what the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab one of the metal bodies that come on the airsoft guns. We'll see if we can break through the coating on that in the same way, and we'll see what this thing can do. So it's a fraction of the price compared to a fibre. Now my fibre is, you know, obviously much more powerful than this machine. With the head you don't have to mess about, there's no moving parts unless, you know, apart from the mirrors and stuff which are inside the laser head. It's got a huge lens on it to focus it. But one thing it does struggle with is going round certain cylindrical objects, so that is a bit of a pain. I know you can get a adapter for it, but the adapters aren't cheap, and you're talking about an expensive machine anyway. So I was just going to waffle on a little bit and see if this thing will complete. So we're at 55% here. What I'll do, if I can, between speaking, I'll speed this up just so you're not waiting around as long. The machine is actually really quiet as well. That's one of the main surprises that I had with it. Obviously the fibres you'll see in the video that I did, the machine is very loud. That's not the noise coming out of the laser itself in terms of the beam coming out of the lens. It's actually the whole infrastructure you have that sits out of frame. You imagine a really heavy, big, bulky PC, like home computer tower. Make it double the thickness and double the weight, and that is the module that goes with it that obviously powers the machine. So that wasn't obviously in shot, you won't see that, but it does take up a lot of space. This is now going round the outside, just going around all the lines. So on the fibre it does that first. I think it does it after as well. I think you can adjust it, but the next thing I want to try with this machine, because when I go into the software on the fibre laser and I just want to do simple text, it's some of the fastest, because the software that comes, well, is included with the machine, because you're using that, it's some of the fastest processing that I've seen doing text on that machine. It's just super quick if you're using the software that's obviously connected to it, which is EasyCAD. Lightburn, that they've obviously, you get the Lightbox Basic or whatever it was called, which is fair enough, and then they sort of promote this Lightburn. This Lightburn is like one of the, it's so much easier than EasyCAD. Yes, it will be a cost on top, but you know, if you're going to spend this amount on the machine anyway, what's the software? So same as before. Can we wipe it off? Look at that. So all the crud must get left behind. I don't know if that's to do with the fumes or the coating. I think these are anodized, so I'm not sure what that is, just carbon buildup or whatever. You cannot go wrong with that. That was double the speed, so, and it looks exactly the same. I'm guessing we can probably speed this right up. So what is the fastest the machine can do? Let's have a look here. On any of the settings, the fastest it tells you to go is 100, and we've already done 140. So far as I'm aware, there's no speed limit in the software, so could we turn that up to 300? Will it cope? Will it break? Who knows? Let's give it a quick bash. I'm not sure if that's running at 300mm a second or not. Obviously different materials will have different results. Obviously with the print head moving, there's a certain speed you wouldn't want to go past. It's using belts and pulleys to move the head backwards and forwards. But it's a very unobtrusive machine. Now my machine I have fitted in my workshop, or the extension to my workshop. It's not something that I'd want to bring into the office. I mean, I could do, I suppose, but it's such a loud machine. It's got loads of space that you need to set it up. Where this is very unobtrusive. You can just, I've literally got it on the side of my desk, which you'll see here. It's just on my desk next to my computer. Obviously, I won't show you the desk because it's a mess. Not sure if that's starting to struggle there. Let's see if we can get the torch on there. It seems to be doing it the exact same way, so there's a slight bit of vibration, which I imagine is just the motion of it going backwards and forwards so quickly. The highest speed on here it tells you to go is 100. I don't see any that are faster than that. So yeah, 100mm a second. They have to do two versions of this machine as well, the 5 watt and the 10 watt. The 10 watt you can go faster than 5, which is pretty obvious. This is obviously getting to the widest part of the engraving because you can hear it. We'll see how it comes out, you know, it might come out absolutely fine. So far we are 2 minutes 15 seconds in and we're about 40% of the way through. I will try and get the speeds and powers that I'm using up on the screen while I'm doing this. But you know, when I was looking for a machine, and I did invest with the business as, you know, getting something as best as I could get my hands on that wasn't a ridiculous amount of money. This would have been a pretty cool option. I'm glad I invested in the Galvo fibre laser. I've done a hell of a lot of work through that machine over the years, so it has it paid itself off? Probably not. I haven't had tons of issues with it either, so. Now you obviously see a lot of blue light on this machine coming on the phone. I can see blue light reflecting off the walls in the background and on my clothing. But as I'm looking through I'm using the glasses I got with the fibre machine, not the free ones, but I'm pretty sure they're the same. I don't see any of that blue light, so it's just the filter in the glasses is just cutting that out. So we're at 3 minutes 37 seconds at 63%. It's going to do its bit now where it'll probably speed up and get this done. It's really putting the motors to work, running at 3 times the recommended speed. That's an interval of 0.03mm as well. The standard setting on Lightburn I think was 0.1. So again, with 3 times shorter in the intervals compared to the standard setting. But it does say... Does it say? No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say intervals in there. But they did say on the website that it can go down to 0.03, so that's what I'm using. We're at 4 minutes 33 seconds. 4 minutes 37. 4 minutes 40 seconds and we are done. Right. Software's done, but the machine's still going. There's obviously a bit of a disconnect there. It's just going around the edge now. Will that be done? Wow. There we go. But the trick is, obviously we've got all that schmutz on there, which again I think is just like grime and dust from the process. Obviously I can't look at this machine and what it's doing without the glasses on. That would be a stupid thing to do. But look at that. The logo that made the YouTube channel so popular. Now we have got ghosting in that image, so I'm going to say that that is far too fast. So if you look at the teeth here, and you look at the teeth here, so you've got a line which outlines each side. Flip it over, we've got two lines, so it is ghosting or it's moving. Either the print head's moving or the, I don't know the material is because it hasn't been touched. So the recommended speed at 70, whichever one that was, I can't remember which one it was now. We did another one at 140, which is absolutely fine. 300, it does work, but it's a little bit too quick for this type of machine. So you would have seen there that xTool D1 is a very capable tool. Yes, you're not going to go at the speeds what the fibre lasers, especially the Galva fibre lasers, can go at in regards to metals. But if you did want to add this on as a service, perhaps you're an engineer, a craft maker, or you're an airsoft tech, and you want to add this on as like a little bit of a service, you very much could use this tool on painted and coated metal surfaces, as well as using plastics, wood, perspex, the foam cutting, all that good stuff. I've been really surprised with what the xTool D1 can do, especially when we tried it on the coated metal, which was the anodized aluminium. At first glance it looked like it wasn't going to make it through, but then just rubbing off like the built up carbon or the muck off the surface, it actually produced a really nice high quality finish. Will be interesting to see going forward. Obviously this isn't the only video that I'm going to do on it. As I experiment further with the machine, I'll of course update this as the time goes on. But for the applications that I'm going to use it for, the foam cutting, perhaps a little bit of light marking on certain metals and plastics, cutting out perspex is something that I want to try as well. For my applications, the tool actually worked out really well, and if I knew what the capabilities of this machine was, if there was a video like this that suited specifically to my needs, I would probably go out and purchase one at full price, because it enables me a few more capabilities on top of what I can do with my Galvo fibre laser. So I hope you've liked this review. I hope I've answered some questions that aren't always necessarily clear with reviews out there. There's a lot more this machine can do that I've tried to sort of get down and make it not a stupidly long video. So as I go and do that, I'll add that on, of course, as I do with the airsoft related stuff. If you're looking at one of these machines, go in the link down below. You'll see a link to xTool where you can buy this directly. It's very, very well priced for what you get in the box. It's easy to assemble, very well packaged as it comes to you as well. And I'm very thankful for xTool for sending this over, so I can take a look and see how I got on with the xTool D1. The next videos that I'll be doing will be back on the airsoft related stuff. So we've got to look at that new Ares 308 DMR that they've just released. So I'm going to be comparing it to the M4X class and seeing how we get on with that. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.